Hello, everybody. My name is Christopher Saunders, and this is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, where we talk all things talent in Connecticut. And on tonight's show, I'm pleased to have a senior from North Haven, Julia Ball, on the girls basketball team. Julia, appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Now you are the first guest that I've had on from North Haven since the football team won the championship. And I know I'm kind of reversing a little bit on sports for a second, but I just want to ask for North Haven to win that championship. Just talk to me about the amount of energy at the high school because it had to be something.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was nuts. The game was great. It was a really good game. And everybody just like all the time now, like we're all so hyped, so energetic. Every sporting event, we're
Mhm.
looking for a championship win again. It's really good. It's really fun.
And I would think too, it's not just for North Haven in general to be such a dramatic amount as far as to win that championship, but the amount of history as well, right?
Yeah, yep, tons of it.
So as far as I know, the season right now, you young ladies are 5-1. Great start. You guys are also in Class L, and it's interesting because I broadcast in the NVL, so I know the Holy Crosses, the then Sacred Heart, which has now been closed for the last couple of years. And I saw that Holy Cross was in L, and I was like, okay, Class L typically is tough, but it's a gauntlet. Windsor's up there too.
Yeah, yep, they're tough teams.
Yeah, but every team is always good. Every team, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
right.
so before we discuss this season, I just want to turn the page a little bit to last year.
Okay.
Kind of give me a summary a little bit of how last year went for the North Haven girls basketball program.
Um, yeah, last year we had a really good season. We were 10-10. We had two injuries, myself included, and one of our junior starters, which was like an adjustment for everybody, I think. Just like you have two people who play a ton and they're injured and they go out. So our team had to really work together and really train and work at practice to like get back into the rhythm of things of how they wanted things to go. And they turned it around. The girls did really good. They made it to like the second game in the States, and we had a lot of underclassmen step up and continue to play really hard. So it was a really good season.
Now, what kind of injury, if you don't mind me asking, did you have, and how many games did you miss because of that injury?
Well, I had an ACL tear, and the other girl had a meniscus tear. So she was actually out for same amount of time as myself. We were out for 7 months. I played 7 games and then I was out.
So obviously dealing with that injury had to be something else, but what was more, I guess, hurtful, I guess, in a sense, the injury or having to not be out there with your teammates fighting, because I'm sure you were at the games when you were able to
Mhm.
cheer for them.
Yeah, no, 100% not being out there was the hardest part. It was like the close games were the toughest ones because we're just cheering for like crazy on the sidelines, just really wanting to be out there and wanting to help our teammates out because we can see everything from the bench. So it was really hard to not play with them.
And you mentioned as far as being on the bench, and it's funny that you say that because I've talked with various players throughout the years when I've done both radio and TV, and I've asked them when they've had an injury as severe as you did, or just an injury in general. And I've said, what's the difference between being on the bench or on the sideline or whatever the sport is, and then actually playing? What's the difference? And they said, being on the sideline, you see the game so much differently. You're able to kind of think a lot more because you don't have to react. You can just think and play the game in your head. What says you?
Yeah, no, 100%. I honestly think it helped me out this year because last year of all the watching, it's true you can see everything from the bench. You don't have to react. You see every little open, like open cut, open lane, everything, and you can see where the pass should go or where it should have gone or who should have stepped up on defense. And I think that has kind of worked to my advantage this year because I'm able to kind of put that into play when I'm now back on the court.
As you were rehabbing through that injury, talk to me about because I know in baseball when pitchers tear their UCL, a lot of times they're by themselves because they're doing the workouts and the training regimens where no other guys are doing that because it's not the same injury. For you
Right.
specifically, did you have moments where you were like, I don't know if I can do this? Like this, ACLs are extremely serious.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely a bunch of times. I pushed really hard. I really wanted to be back by like the 7 month mark. It's usually a 9 month recovery, and I pushed really hard to get back by 7 months. Physical therapy every single day, like training constantly, going to the gym, going to run when I was cleared. And I did it all alone, and it was a lot a couple of times, like mentally and physically draining, but I think it was beneficial kind of to just like bring me back to where I really wanted to be. So I worked hard to get there.
The mental side too is massive in sports. I don't care what sport it is. If you don't have it mentally, I mean, I saw yesterday because I did a boys basketball game. The the free throw shooting was pretty bad. I think it was like 9 of 20, something like it was bad. It was like nails on a chalkboard, just kind of screeching down, and I could see it on the players as every free throw was missed. Heads are
Yeah,
down. Even the coaches, the head coach, his head was down too. The mental side is huge.
yeah.
For you, as you were going through, like you said, the rehab, the gym, so on and so forth, did you have mental checkpoints like, okay, if I do this, even if I don't do this, if I do A instead of C, then it's okay because then I have the next day then to get to B, then the next day I can get to C. Does that make sense?
Yeah, oh, definitely, yeah. Um, I had a ton of mental checkpoints for myself. I for with an ACL injury, you have like the test that you have to pass, like the run test or like the return to sport test. So I constantly was like keeping myself in check, like with those dates to train to be ready to pass that test by that time. And if I didn't necessarily complete one of my training, like what I wanted to do, I would make sure I got it done the next day because I knew I had to get to pass that test for a certain time.
So at what point would you say where you felt not 100%, mentally, because obviously it takes time. Even when you feel like I'm good, the first charge you take,
Yeah.
or the first time on the layup, because I don't know exactly how did you get hurt when you tore your ACL.
Um, it was mine was I was like running, playing defense, and it just like my knee just completely gave out. It was really weird. Yeah, it was
So
bad.
even that too, even just playing defense, just to get the confidence for
Yeah.
you, when were you able to fully say, okay, I'm not going to tear this. I've trained this. I've done everything possible. I'm okay. When did you feel like you were good?
Um, Probably like after like the first couple of games I played back because
Mm.
I was really nervous in the beginning, like really nervous to just move at any type of like weird shifty way because I was afraid I was gonna get hurt again. But once you gain that confidence, like after like playing and realizing it's not gonna happen, everything just goes uphill. Like your defense becomes better, your offense becomes better, the cutting, the movement, everything. I'd say like after like the third or fourth game I played back, like I played in summer a little before, so like around then. And then for high school season I was ready, set to go.
So the summer season had to help as far as just shaking off the rust and again to gain some confidence and allow you to even implement some of the stuff that you said that you learned when you were on the sideline, cheering on your teammates because of your injury. Talk about that as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think just like a ton of stuff that you could see like from the side, then again like that just like works right into it, and then knowing how to move or how not to move with confidence just it brought everything back, and you learned your teammates and how they play, and it just all like everything just came all full circle back together.
And with the injuries that you mentioned, even though I mean 10-10 is still a good season. It's not, obviously what I'm sure you guys thought at the beginning of last year, but still it's a good season and such. But I would think that experience with the loss. Now, the other player that was hurt, is she back or did she graduate?
Yep, no, she's back. She's a
Okay,
junior.
so and that helps with the both of you
Yep.
back. So I would think with that injury to the both of you, I thought, or at least I think, would open up opportunities last year and experience to, if they're not starting,
Yeah.
lengthen the bench. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does 100%. A bunch of our JV players and underclassmen got asked to step up, and I applaud them. They did a very good job, like fulfilling those roles and being put in the varsity position. Maybe not that they were expecting necessarily. The bench got really big at the end. We had a bunch of cheerleaders, a bunch of everything, but it was really fun, and it was really good to see those girls who hadn't played necessarily at the varsity level be able to step up. It was really promising for this year.
Talk to me about kind of the conversations as the season this year started to slowly creep up because it came very quickly. What was
Yep.
it like as far as the conversations with not just your head coach, who I have immense respect for, but also to your teammates as well? What was that like?
Um, we our head coach had us in the gym really early, like working out, and we were like, this season we're gonna push, we're gonna go as far as we can. It was everybody's goal, kind of just seeing how well we could do last year. So a lot of the talk was like to get stronger, get faster, work on everything we had to work on to be able to come into that first game and just really push and give it our all. And we've honestly, I think we've been doing that from the start. We just keep getting better every single day. Everything is just progressing, and it's really good to see.
For you specifically, do you feel like both at from a leadership standpoint, because not only are you scoring a whole lot of points, but you're also showing the younger ladies, you're showing the state rather kind of what could have happened last year, but because of the torn ACL, people were not able to see it. And now you're making up for lost time. Do you
Mhm.
realize what you're doing now 6 games into a girls basketball season?
Yeah, I mean, I I think it's great when we go through stats and everybody we talk about how we score 70 points and the girls are like, "Well, a bunch of those are coming from Julia." And I was like, "Well, I have to make up for it." I feel like it's a good thing to it's for me personally, like just mentally to get back there. But I also think it helps the younger girls realize like if you're going to play my position or play anybody else's position, it's a really good spot to have, like really good to easily to score, do whatever, and everybody works. I have a ton of people who get assists. Like it's great. It's a really good thing.
Now you played a very good Hamden team, which the last time I checked is ranked among the top 10 as far as girls basketball. And I'm sure you young ladies rather knew that it was going to be difficult because they're a good team. But after that game was over, what was the conversations like? I mean, was it kind of, I guess, a loss is never good unless you can take the most from it, learn from it, and progress to the next game. And like I said, learn from those mistakes. What was your takeaways from the Hamden game?
Um, yeah, like you said, we learned from every single mistake we made in that game. We went back into that locker room after the loss and we were like, all right, tomorrow at practice, we're going to push, we're going to work, and we're going to get this next win against Guilford. We're just going to keep pushing, keep going. And I think that from the loss, we worked on all those mistakes, fixed out every little kink. First game jitters always, but we fixed everything that needed to be fixed from that. And we just have continued to work and really push to get where we wanted to be.
It's also shown too that you scored as a team 70 plus points in 3 of the 5 games, and you're on a 5 game win streak. So I would think whatever was said definitely lit a fire and has shown with you guys being 5-0 since that loss to Hamden.
Yeah. Yeah, we play Hamden again towards the end of the season, so we're pushing. We want to keep going. We want to beat them, get back.
I'm sure that you guys have it circled. Maybe I know not looking too far ahead because obviously I think you've got Foreign, Daniel Hand, Amistad the next 3 games. But
Yep.
as we go down, like you said, you could Hamden on what was it, January 20th? That's going to be at Hamden. That could be a little bit of a rematch there from the first game, right?
No, 100%. We're looking forward to it.
So specifically about yourself, what would you say through the first 6 games? If you had, we talked about the checklist when you were going through with the torn ACL. What did you have on? Because I'm sure you had a list. What did you have that you said to yourself, okay, through this amount of games or through this amount of time, I want to accomplish this, this, and this?
Yeah. Um, Personally, I don't put scoring down ever for myself. I never put a set amount of points just because I don't want to feel upset when the statistics don't come in. I've tried to focus more on like my team and how we can all work together. So I wanted to just have like good communication and I wanted to keep myself mentally in the game. My goal was to not let myself get in my head if I was fouling or having a bad not scoring or doing any of that. I was going to stay there mentally and I was going to stay there physically as well.
Mhm.
I was also my goal was to motivate everybody. Everybody was going to stay motivated. Everybody was going to stay positive throughout the whole game, no matter what happened. Those two were kind of the main points for me. It's just to keep everybody in check.
It's funny because I've had conversations with with various coaches from the girls basketball ranks, and I've asked them about you. And the same thing that they told me is the same thing I heard about a player yesterday when I was doing a basketball game. The young man's name is Jason Robinson. He's a senior. I think he's like 100 points away from 1,000 at Crosby. I don't know if you know Crosby High School. They have names up the wazoo of 1,000 point scorers. So he's just going to be another one. But he was
Yep.
having a tough night. He didn't score until the third quarter. Had only 10 points, averages about 18, but he averages 13 rebounds a game, and he's just a ball hawk. He's a defensive guy. I mean, if he's not scoring, it doesn't matter. He never loses his focus. And I heard the same thing about you. Do you believe from what I heard?
Yeah, honestly, yeah. If I'm not scoring, I truly I block it out. I don't let it get to me. If it goes in, it goes in. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Everybody else is contributing, and there's 100 other ways I could contribute to make us win or to push that next step or do whatever we have to do to play a good game.
So when you're playing the game, is there a particular move that okay, if my drop step is going, or if I'm getting the bunnies pretty easy, if it's coming off my fingers well, or if I'm feeling good on the fadeaways, is there a particular move or shot, bunny, whatever, where you feel like okay, if I got this going, I'm going to have a pretty good night?
So my favorite thing is the fast break. You 100%. I will always be down that floor. And on our first couple of games, we had a bunch. I had like 8, 10 layups in a row. Like it was crazy. So that if that's going for me, that's going to be a great game. Always. I love a good fast break. Keep the pace up. I don't like to slow down.
And it's great too for broadcasters because it's funny, not funny, but it's great to see the speed because then you see everybody start trucking along to the other side of the court, right?
Yeah.
So, Julia, I appreciate you coming on. A lot of fun being able to talk with you. Before I let you go, what can people expect when they go to watch girls basketball for North Haven as far as for the remainder of this season?
Um, Honestly, a great game. I personally, I think we play a great game. We have a great coaching staff. Our team, we have really good team chemistry. We've had like 5 new players on this team, and we're all already so connected. It's a fast-paced game and a very hard. We work so hard in the games. Our defense is coming along really well, and I think people should watch out. We're creeping up there. It's going to be a really good year for us.
I've noticed it too because I vote for the girls basketball poll on Game Time, and you guys are starting to creep up. And I'm not going to reveal my voting. I don't want to do that because I don't know if anybody else has. But
Mhm.
I've taken notice to you guys moving up. So if I'm noticing, hopefully other people are noticing as well.
Yep. Hopefully, there's a lot of buzz. We want to be up there. We're creeping.
I hope so. It'd be great too for the program because again, football team wins the state title. I don't want to put pressure on you guys, but hey, it'd be great to get some more media coverage for North Haven. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. I agree.
Now, real quick too, and again, before I let you go, your head coach again, she's well respected. I remember interviewing one of her players from Plainville, and she what she does both on and off the court speaks volumes. What has she meant for you? And I know I know that you haven't had her for a long time, only a couple years, but what has she meant to you in your game and just overall?
Yeah, she's helped boost my confidence a ton throughout the injury, throughout the whole season. She's been there. She's a great communicator. She's really good at communication, and she's helped me a lot, obviously, with the whole college thing too. Um, she's just always been there, and she's always our biggest fan. She's always cheering. She's always rooting for us. Oh, and always giving us that little like, here's what you should do to make this work next time, and you'll get it next time. She's never ever been negative towards us, which is great. It's really helpful. She knows the game really well, and she knows exactly what we have to work on to get to where we want to be. And I think that all the hard work she's pushed us through and everything she's had us do is really paying off.
And like you mentioned too, with the college aspect for you, and I'm sure the torn ACL, let's be honest, it didn't help because, there's so many players and such. And the
Yeah,
COVID year, that's still in play. I mean, there's still players getting extra years. But
yeah,
hopefully, I'm sure, your head coach is doing it, and I'm sure you're doing it too. If you score, have a great game, which you have every game so far, send the tape away to the coach. Hey, just sending you my latest tape. You know what I mean?
yeah. We do. We have everything's on huddle. We send everything out, everything we can, our stats and everything. So it's really
Perfect.
good.
Well, just keep doing that. Best of luck the rest of this season, and hopefully, if if I have the opportunity to be able to broadcast down at Mohegan again for the girls and boys basketball championships, hopefully I'll see North Haven there because that would be a lot of fun to see them back in a state title, kind of
Yeah,
just like with football. I would love to see that energy again because the crowd looked like it was a once in a lifetime kind of party.
it was crazy. Thank
Well,
you.
I appreciate you coming on and best of luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
No problem. Now wrap things up here on the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. So until next time, stay safe. Remember, CT stands for Connecticut Talent. I'm going to find them all. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody, and be well.